I never imagined that the moment my life unraveled would look so ordinary. Just a man sitting in a stiff plastic chair in the waiting room of Brighton Medical Center, holding a sealed envelope with his name on it. My hands were sweating so much the paper felt soft at the edges, like it had absorbed my fear. Across from me sat 3 other men. Jonas Price, always tapping his foot like he was late for something important. Reuben Hall, pretending to scroll through his phone, but glancing around nervously. And next to the reception desk, leaning with a kind of smug confidence, was Caleb Rivers, the type of guy who looked like life had handed him everything on a silver platter. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, Pilates-toned body, the kind of person people listened to without him ever earning it. And then there was me, Michael Turner, 34 years old, night shift janitor, disposable, invisible. At least that's how people saw me. Except for one person. The janitor who worked mornings, an older man named Ellis Green. He was sweeping near the corner, watching us with that quiet intuition old custodians develop after decades of seeing the world at its worst. He nodded at me slightly, like he knew something was coming, like he could sense the fuse had already been lit. When the nurse finally called my name, I stood up, feeling my stomach tighten. I already knew what the envelope said. I'd been sick for months, and the doctors had hinted at something chronic, something difficult to treat. But I wasn't afraid of the diagnosis. I was afraid of what it would confirm, because if what I suspected was true, then someone had betrayed me in the most personal, humiliating way possible. 8 hours later, I was mopping the floors on the 3rd level of the hospital, my mind spiraling. The first phase of my plan was simple. Let them believe I was still blind. Pretend to be the same quiet, underestimated man they thought they could walk over. The kind of man who swallowed disrespect and thanked them for the privilege. So that's exactly what I did. For 2 weeks, I acted like nothing had changed. I kissed Lana good morning. I packed her lunch. I listened to her complain about Ava Morgan's latest sponsorship deal. I nodded while she bragged about her private training sessions with Caleb at his exclusive Pacific Crest gym. Every night, she came home late. Every night, she showered immediately. Every night, she turned away from me in bed. I didn't touch her. She didn't notice. She was too busy living in her fantasy where she was desired, important, powerful. Meanwhile, I was building something she never expected. My crypto holdings had grown quietly for years, spread across multiple wallets, staking pools, and cold storage drives. I'd always planned to use the money to surprise her, buy a house, travel, maybe start a small business. Now, it would finance her downfall. The first step involved someone she despised more than anyone, Ava Morgan. She and Lana had once been best friends, but their careers tore them apart. Ava succeeded faster, landed better deals, built a bigger following. Lana could never forgive that. She hid it behind smiles, but every time Ava posted something successful, Lana raged. So I reached out to Ava, not directly, through an anonymous business email tied to one of my shell companies. I offered her something she couldn't resist: exclusive insider information about a rival influencer's secret affairs, sponsorship fraud, and fake engagement statistics. She responded within 20 minutes. Tell me more. While that was in motion, I started gathering proof. I installed hidden cameras in the kitchen, the living room, the hallway, the bedroom. Small, silent, disguised as screws or vents. I didn't feel guilty. They had already violated the sanctity of my home. I was simply documenting it. The recordings began telling a story almost immediately. The morning after one of her late workouts, Lana walked around the apartment humming, texting constantly, smiling at her phone. She stopped in front of the mirror, applying lipstick. Then she whispered, "He's going to leave her soon, and when he does, we're unstoppable." My blood ran cold. Leave her? Caleb was married to a woman named Emily Rivers, who came from money and had influence in Pacific Crest society circles. If Lana had convinced him to divorce Emily, this wasn't just an affair. It was ambition, calculated, predatory. She wasn't in love. She wanted a stage. She wanted a status upgrade. She wanted to trade me in like an old appliance. That realization didn't hurt. It fueled me. The second phase of my plan began unexpectedly. I came home early from the night shift, exhausted, wanting to check footage before sleeping. As I opened the apartment door, I heard voices, not speaking, moaning, laughing. My heart stopped. They were here, in my home, in my bed. I stepped back, closed the door silently, and waited in the stairwell, listening through the thin wall as the muffled sounds continued. My hands shook, not from sadness, but from adrenaline. They were bold enough to do this in the place I paid for, the place I maintained, the place where she promised to love me. When the noises finally stopped, I heard them talking. She giggled. "You really think he'll just accept it?" Caleb scoffed. "Please. He's a nobody. He cleans floors for a living. What's he going to do? Cry?" Lana laughed harder. "He's lucky I even married him. He'd be living in some tiny room eating ramen without me." He replied, "Once I'm divorced, we'll make it official. You'll be living in my beach house in no time." "Emily won't fight it?" she asked. "She can't," he said confidently. "My lawyer's already preparing everything." I pressed my hand against the wall to steady myself. They weren't just mocking me. They were planning to discard me, erase me, replace me. That was the moment I stopped thinking of this as revenge. This became justice. When they finally left the apartment, I went inside and checked the bedroom camera. The footage was crystal clear. Them, together, laughing, plotting, mocking me. I copied the file to 3 encrypted drives and hid them in separate places. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. I drafted 3 emails. One to Ava Morgan, containing a short teaser clip. One to Emily Rivers, Caleb's wife, and one to a major fitness brand sponsoring Lana's upcoming campaign. I didn't send them. Not yet. Timing was everything. The next day, I acted normal. Made breakfast, packed her bag, kissed her on the cheek. She smiled at me, the same smile she probably gave Caleb the night before, and said, "You're such a good man, Michael. I don't know what I'd do without you." For the first time, I agreed. She had no idea how true that statement was. Because without me, her entire world was about to collapse. The final piece fell into place when I overheard something unexpected. I was finishing my shift at Brighton Medical Center when I heard 2 nurses talking in the hallway. Caleb Rivers' divorce hearing got moved up. His wife hired a powerhouse attorney. Really? I thought he was untouchable. Not anymore. Apparently someone sent her evidence. I froze. Someone had beaten me to it. Emily had already begun destroying him, which meant the game had shifted. Now there was chaos, and chaos benefits the one who plans. That night, Lana came home furious. She slammed the door, threw her purse, kicked off her heels. "Everything is falling apart," she screamed. I sat calmly on the couch. "Oh, what happened?" She glared at me, eyes wild. Nothing, just work issues. Lie, panic, fear. Beautiful. I leaned back, pretending to be concerned. It'll get better, I said softly. She stared at me, breathing hard. Then she whispered, "You won't leave me, right?" I smiled gently. "I would never leave you." Inside my mind, the next phase clicked into place. I wasn't going to leave her. Not yet. I was going to let her cling to me, depend on me, trust me, because only then would the final blow hurt the most. The public humiliation didn't start with a viral post or a dramatic confrontation. It started with silence, the kind of silence that spreads like a crack through glass. Small, nearly invisible at first, then suddenly everything shatters. 3 days after Lana's meltdown, my phone buzzed with a notification. Ava Morgan uploaded a new video. My heart thumped once. I opened it. Her face filled the screen, polished, confident, icy. Title: The Hidden Darkness Behind Wellness Influencers, a Story You Need to Hear. I didn't even have to watch it to know. She'd used the audio, the clip I sent her. Not the explicit part. She was smarter than that. No. She used the section where Lana said, "He's pathetic. He cleans floors for a living. I deserve someone powerful." And then Caleb's voice, "She's just using him until I'm free." Ava blurred their names and voices slightly, but everyone who followed Lana knew. The comments exploded within minutes. "She talks like that about her husband? Imagine insulting the person who pays your bills. Girl just ended her own career." I sat back in my chair, smiling. This was only the beginning. That evening, Lana came home pale. She didn't throw anything, she didn't scream, she just walked in slowly like someone carrying a weight they couldn't drop. "Michael," she whispered. I looked up from my laptop. "Yes? Have you seen anything online today?" I tilted my head, pretending to think. "No, why?" She sank onto the couch, shaking. "Ava posted something about a toxic influencer. People think it's about me." I widened my eyes in fake shock. "Why would they think that?" Her lip trembled. I don't know. She grabbed her phone and scrolled desperately. "They're tagging me. Brands are emailing. I might lose the campaign." I walked over slowly, placed a hand on her shoulder. Soft, comforting. She leaned into it like a drowning person reaching for a floating branch. "I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding," I murmured. Inside, I was laughing. But humiliation online wasn't enough. Not for what they'd done. The next stage required precision. A trap wrapped as an opportunity. Lana, desperate to salvage her image, announced a new men's wellness initiative online, something she and Caleb had been planning. Or rather, Caleb planned, she parroted. "Free health screenings for men," she posted, "taking responsibility for wellness in our community." It was the perfect setup. I helped her. I encouraged her. I even volunteered to coordinate the event logistics. She kissed my cheek gratefully. If only she knew. I contacted Dr. Harper Lynn, a physician I trusted, someone who owed me a favor from years ago when I helped her quietly clean up a situation involving hospital records. She agreed to perform wellness screenings at the event. The tests were legitimate. What I added afterward wasn't. Using encrypted email accounts, I drafted 3 personalized medical reports. One for Caleb, one for Tyler Bennett, one for Malik Carter. Each report suggested potential health concerns. Nothing fatal, nothing illegal to fabricate, just enough to terrify them. Possible viral markers, irregular hormone levels, abnormalities requiring immediate follow-up, recommended disclosure to recent partners. I forwarded each report anonymously, with a note. Your recent activities may have exposed others. You are legally obligated to inform sexual partners. Within hours, the panic began. Caleb called Lana while she was in the shower. I listened from the hallway. "Why didn't you tell me you had something?" he hissed. She screamed back, "What are you talking about? I'm clean." "Then why do I have a flagged test?" "I don't know." I covered my mouth to keep from laughing. Tyler posted vague panic messages online. "Anyone else get weird results from screenings? Is this real or a scam?" Malik shut down his social media entirely. Perfect. Fear spreads faster than truth. But the true masterpiece came during the wellness event itself, held at Caleb's gym, Pacific Crest Fitness. Bright banners, cameras, influencers, live streams, all expecting a motivational community movement. What they got instead was carnage. I arrived early, pretending to help set up equipment, adjusting lighting, taping down wires. What I was actually doing: installing micro cameras, every entrance, every corner, locker rooms, hallway, office. Then I positioned a small speaker behind the main stage, the one connected to my phone. The gym filled quickly. Reporters, bloggers, fans. Caleb strutted onto the stage, smiling confidently despite the panic in his eyes. Lana stood beside him, trying to look supportive. Her makeup was perfect, but her hands shook. I stayed near the back, quiet, unnoticed, just like always. The event began with speeches. Caleb talked about wellness responsibility. Tyler bragged about crypto discipline and life transparency. Malik preached lifestyle accountability. Hypocrites. Every word they said dripped with irony. And then, when Caleb proudly announced, "We believe in honesty," I pressed play. Their voices filled the gym. Caleb's voice: "She's just using him until I'm free." Lana's voice: "He's pathetic. He cleans floors for a living." The room froze. Then chaos. Gasps. Shouts. Phones up everywhere. People turning. Staring. Recording. Lana's face drained of blood. Caleb jumped forward, screaming, "Turn that off! Turn it off!" He spotted me. His expression twisted. "You did this." He lunged, but adrenaline and rage do not equal skill. I stepped aside. He stumbled, crashed into a display table, weights clattering across the floor. The entire internet watched it live. Security rushed in. People shouted. Some laughed. Some booed. Some streamed it. I walked calmly toward the exit. No one stopped me. No one even touched me. For the first time in years, they saw me. Not as invisible, not as weak, but as the man who held all the power. When I reached the door, I heard Lana scream my name. "Michael, wait!" I didn't turn. I didn't need to. Her world had already collapsed, and I was only halfway done. The fallout was immediate. I woke up the next morning to headlines, messages, and notifications stacked so high, my phone nearly froze. Wellness scandal erupts live on stream. Fitness guru exposed humiliating husband. Crypto advisor involved in health cover-up. Influencer Lana Carter caught mocking janitor husband. Janitor. They loved that word. They clung to it. It made the story cleaner, more dramatic. The humble sanitation worker versus the glamorous influencer. If only they knew the truth. By noon, Pacific Crest Fitness announced it was temporarily suspending operations. Within 48 hours, their membership numbers dropped so sharply that temporary became permanent. Sponsors fled. Equipment renters repossessed machines. Landlord posted a notice. The gym died faster than I expected. Caleb tried to spin it online. Fake recordings! Taken out of context. Targeted harassment. But the internet had already chosen the narrative. The fall of the wellness frauds. Tyler wasn't spared. His crypto blog, once smug and popular, was overwhelmed with comments. So that's where your advice leads? Maybe focus less on sleeping with influencers. His sponsors pulled out. Investors demanded refunds. Within a week, his column was canceled. Malik tried to keep his real estate business afloat. But when clients began asking about ethics investigations and health disclosures, he panicked. His brokerage suspended his license, pending review. Rumors spread. He vanished offline. As for Lana, her collapse was the loudest. Brands canceled partnerships. Followers left in droves. Her inbox filled with messages like, "You lied to everyone. Using your husband as a doormat? You deserve this." She spent days locked in our bedroom, curtains drawn, sobbing. I listened, sometimes with sympathy, sometimes with satisfaction. But satisfaction isn't the same as closure. And I still had one final step: the divorce. When Lana finally emerged, she approached me cautiously, like someone approaching a dog that might bite. "Michael, we need to talk." I looked up from my laptop. "Yes?" Tears glimmered in her eyes. "I'm sorry. I made mistakes. I was stupid. I let Caleb influence me." I raised an eyebrow. "Influence you? Or give you what you wanted?" She flinched. "I never meant to hurt you." I closed the laptop gently. "You didn't hurt me because you loved someone else," I said softly. "You hurt me because you enjoyed humiliating me." Her mouth opened, then closed. No denial, just silence. I stood. "Lana, this marriage is over." Panic flooded her face. "No, please, we can fix this. Therapy, counseling, anything." I shook my head. "No, you made your choice long before that live stream." I handed her an envelope. Divorce papers. She stared at them as if they were a death certificate. "Michael, I'll lose everything." I met her eyes. "You already did." The divorce process was brutal for her. She expected to walk away with half, maybe more. After all, she'd always believed she was the valuable one, the star, the influencer. Her lawyer entered the courtroom smiling. Mine walked in wearing a tailored suit that cost more than Lana's car. Eva Darnell, one of the most feared family attorneys on the West Coast. Lana's lawyer didn't know what hit him. Eva presented my financial disclosures, including the part Lana never knew. Over $4 million in cryptocurrency, earned and stored before the marriage, legally separate, protected, untouchable. Lana froze, her face drained. Her lawyer stammered. The judge reviewed the documents, nodded, and ruled. Lana was entitled to nothing from my digital assets. Her income collapsed. Her sponsorships gone. All she received was a minimal settlement and responsibility for her own legal fees. When the gavel struck, she looked at me with pure disbelief. "You hid all that from me?" I smiled. "No, I protected myself from you." She moved out the next day, to her parents' small, cramped house. No studio, no brand deals, no luxury, just silence. Meanwhile, the internet continued feasting. Memes, compilations, reaction videos. Caleb tried contacting me through burner accounts, threats, blaming, begging. Eventually, someone, no doubt influenced by him, jumped me outside a bar. 3 men, masks, bats. They left me bruised and bloodied with 2 cracked ribs. The hospital asked questions. Police investigated. But I never reported names. I didn't need to, because I already had the leverage. A week later, I invited Caleb to a cafe. Neutral territory. He arrived jittery, wearing sunglasses and a hood. Why did you call me? He snapped. I slid a flash drive across the table. His eyes widened. What's that? Everything, I said calmly. Recordings, messages, videos, proof of your involvement with multiple women, some of whom never consented to being recorded, and your role in the attack. He went pale. You wouldn't. I leaned back. I will. Unless you do two things. He swallowed. What? First, the attack stopped completely. He nodded instantly. And second, I smiled slightly. You transfer $1 million to an account I'll provide. His mouth dropped open. That's less than the cost of losing everything. He stared at me, then whispered, Fine. The money arrived 2 days later. People assume revenge feels like fire, explosive, burning. But in truth, it feels like ice, cold, clear, sharp. 6 months passed. I moved into a new apartment downtown. Paid in full. My name only. No shared debts. No shared anything. One afternoon, I received a message from Lana. Just a single line. Can we talk? I deleted it. Then I opened another message. From Ava Morgan. Dinner invitation. I replied, Sure. We met that weekend. It wasn't romantic. Not yet, but it was honest. Refreshing. Real. Now, when I look back, I realize something important. I never needed to destroy them. They did that themselves, their arrogance, their cruelty, their entitlement. All I did was shine a light. Give the world the truth. They collapsed under the weight of their own behavior. People ask whether revenge was worth it, whether it healed me. The answer? No. Revenge didn't heal me. Freedom did. For the first time in years, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the people who tried to break me are nothing but echoes, forgotten by everyone except themselves. My life looked simple on paper. I'd worked as a custodian for 8 years. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest, stable, and gave me time to think. My wife Lana always said she admired that about me, my calm, my reliability. At least she used to. Now she was obsessed with her career in lifestyle marketing, constantly competing with another influencer named Ava Morgan. Their rivalry was vicious, full of passive-aggressive sponsorships and carefully staged natural photos meant to outshine the other. Meanwhile, I quietly mined cryptocurrency on a rig I'd built years ago. At first, it was a hobby. Then it became luck. Then strategy. Now, I had over $4 million in digital assets. 4 million. My wife had no idea. She thought we were barely middle class, scraping by. She liked that narrative. It made her feel superior to me, more ambitious, more valuable. So I played along. Let her believe I was just the humble janitor who worshipped her. Let her chase followers and pretend she was the breadwinner. Because one day, I planned to reveal everything. But not like this. A few days later, we were at a party hosted by Caleb Rivers, the smug guy from the waiting room. His house was a glass-walled monument to vanity overlooking the beach in Pacific Crest. Music thumped, influencers posed for photos, and Lana floated through the room like she owned it. I watched her laughing with Caleb, her hand on his arm, leaning in too close. She only looked at me when she needed someone to refill her drink or take her coat. Jonas approached me near the bar, grinning. "Mike, man, you still doing that crypto stuff?" he asked, taking a sip of his drink. I shrugged. "A little." "I knew it," he laughed. "You got to tell me your portfolio." "I swear, I'll make bank with you." "Lana says you're sitting on some potential." My heart froze. Lana had told him. Why? Why would she talk about something she thought was insignificant? Why give anyone the idea I might be worth something? Unless she wanted them to know. Unless she wanted Caleb to know. Across the room, I saw her whisper something to Caleb, and he smirked. She touched his chest lightly, intimately. My stomach twisted. Then I noticed something else. Caleb had one hand resting casually on her lower back, like it belonged there. Later that night, I found Lana alone in Caleb's kitchen, pouring wine. She startled when she saw me. "Oh, I was just helping clean up," she said quickly. I glanced around. The kitchen was spotless. No one else was there. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Let's go home," I said. The drive back was silent. Her phone buzzed twice, and she turned it face down. That was all I needed to confirm what my instincts already screamed. Something was happening, and I was done pretending not to see it. By the time we reached our apartment, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't going to accuse her. I was going to find the truth. And when I did, I would make sure no one ever humiliated me again. Not her, not Caleb, not anyone. On the way up the stairs, I finally spoke. "I feel like something's off between us," I said quietly. She paused, then smiled sweetly, placing her hand on my cheek. "Michael, you're amazing. You're stable. You're dynamic in your own way. Don't doubt yourself. I love you." It sounded rehearsed, a script. I nodded slowly, letting her think she'd reassured me. Inside, a cold clarity settled over me. I would get proof, and then I would destroy them. The next morning, before she woke up, I bought a voice recorder, and I installed it under the mattress. 4 days later, Lana left for a fitness session at Caleb's gym and didn't come home until after midnight. The next morning, while she showered, I retrieved the recorder and listened. At first, just muffled sounds, movement, breathing, and then her voice, soft, breathless, intimate. "I can't stop thinking about you, Caleb." His voice followed, unmistakable, smug, and satisfied. He'll never know. And even if he suspects, what's he going to do? He's just a janitor. Something inside me snapped. I paused the recording. The world went silent. Then I pressed play again and listened to the rest. Their laughter, their plans, their mockery of me, of my job, of my worth. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, perfectly still, while the shape of my revenge began forming in my mind. I didn't want to hurt them physically. No, I wanted something far worse. I wanted to take everything they valued: reputation, status, money, followers, control. By the time Lana stepped out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, humming to herself, I already had the first phase of my plan, and she had no idea.